ran some of the biggest horror, sci-fi, and comic book conventions, as well as gothic and steampunk festivals for nearly 2 decades. Please put your hands together for the sexiest man in the room, Mr. Aurelio Voltaire.
To impress a walking ransom note, who's got more ink than all the plays that Shakespeare wrote. And you wonder why she don't get what you say, as you stare into the eyes of someone half your age. It's the folly of love. Oh, it's the folly of love. It's the folly of love. It's the folly of love. You fly a girl halfway across the land. You buy a ring and place it on her dainty hand. Then she thanks some random stranger on the internet for some likes he gave her, but she hasn't thanked you yet. And you swear as the pressure's rising, you're just in the throes of a midlife crisis. It's the folly of love. 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 Oh, so you think some bars of Cohen's hallelujah to a lame child who stood and stared right through you, 'cause you can't speak of love and passion to someone who hasn't lived, and you'll never find that treasure, 'cause she hasn't one to give. So you stare into those pretty vacant eyes, and only now you start to realize it's the folly of love. It's the folly of love. Folly of love. Oh, it's the folly of love. 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 And now that we got all the happy songs out of the way, we can move on to our regularly scheduled program. Songs about necrophilia and death and drinking.
Can we just skip to the third one?
God upstairs is such a freak. 5 years now I've had a leak. What does he do up there? All day long he sleeps all day. He goes out and comes home in the most intoxicated way. As far as I can tell, he juggles bowling balls, and he's not good at it. He moves his furniture, and at 6 a.m. he pulls out a vacuum cleaner to suck his room. The guy downstairs is also crazy. He spent some time in an institute. It did him not much good. He's off his medication, and he starts screaming, "Virgin Mary, you fucking alien." That's a quote. According to him, Jesus Christ smokes crack and other sundry things, but it's the man upstairs who pulls the strings, won't let me sleep. Please kill that man upstairs. If you ever love me, you'll do this one thing, won't you, sweetheart? Please murder that fuck upstairs. If you want to be my friend, you'll have to prove you mean it. Then there's the lady across the hall who always knows what's going on. And punch down the stairs, who's selling crack from door to door. 14B are refugees, 14A transvestite whores. You know who is coming home. He's falling off his truck stairs. About God.
No, it's about a really bad apartment.
The man upstairs. The song is not about God. The song is about the fucking asshole who lives upstairs from me. Please kill that man upstairs. If you ever love me, you'll do this one thing, won't you, sweetheart? Please murder that fuck upstairs. If you want to be my friend, you'll have me get a good night's sleep. So below, place your bets. Which way the head will roll? In your image we are at least as twisted and mean as thee. For your eyes, what a curious sight. Your children have turned on you, and you say you don't sleep well at night. Well, we'll take care of that for you. Antoinette, love the pearls, they'll make a great tourniquet. Never did as you should, and you claimed it was all for our very own good. 'Twas a lie, a magnificent lie. Now your subjects have turned on you, and you say you have lots on your mind. Well, we'll take care of that for you. Get that damn thing off her neck. I'm the head of the board, now I'm bored overhead. Sharpen up the blade, boys. What are you waiting for? Here's where we all get up. Hey, let that smile off your face. Or we'll lop it off clean with our new guillotine. Sharpen up the blade, boys. What are you waiting for? Here's where we all get up. Hey. from this thing that you call a brain. Be my guest, sever me from the source of all my agony. What a shame, I've forgotten my name. Without the use of my brain and mind, that I'll sleep well tonight. Without this head of mine, get this damn thing off my neck. I'm the head of the board, now I'm bored of my head. Sharpen up the blade, boys. What are you waiting for? Here's where we all get up. Hey, put that dead smile on your face. Oh, love it all clean with our new guillotine. Sharpen up the blade, boys. Bells are now tolling. Soon heads will be rolling. Won't you see me slow within your eye dread? I seem to have lost my head. I think I lifted about. If I look around and kicked it around, has anyone seen? No need to be mean, but bloody fat ugly head. Sis, won't you see me sis? It's got black hair. It's kicking about the square. I'm really not totally sure, but I think that it might roll into the sore. Has anyone seen? No need to be mean, but bloody fat ugly head. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And in my resume where it says cunning linguist, that's what that means. That's what that means. That's a lot of words in a really small amount of space. Your tongue has to be able to move very, very quickly, but effectively and efficiently. Oh God, oh God. Also true, also true. Shit. I don't want to know if anybody here knows firsthand if that's true. Oh my God. Here's a song I wrote for a Cartoon Network show. I'm going to tell you a messed up story about this show. Okay, the show is called The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. And it's a children's show, innocent enough.
No, it is not.
It's about an evil meteor that crashes on Earth and this alien creature, which is really kind of like the meteor itself. It's like this alien creature. He's got it's like a giant brain, and he's got like a stalk with an eye at the end and some tentacles. And he asks Billy, who's obviously not the sharpest tool in the shed, to go bring him the village people, not the band. I've never thought about that before. He should have just said, bring me the village people. That would have been a better episode, I'm just saying. There would have been some very catchy songs in that episode. But he says, bring me the people of the village. And Billy does, and then the evil meteor eats people's brains. That's how the whole episode goes. And I wrote a song about that, and I animated it. Now, obviously, because it's on Cartoon Network, it's one of the songs that it's like the gateway drug to Aurelio Voltaire music. You know? A lot of 8-year-olds saw this on television 20 years ago. Wait, it came out like 1999, right? So that's like practically 20 years ago. And they were sitting there watching, and they were like, I like this song! And eventually, they discovered the internet, and Googled it, and they're like, oh, wow! Substitutes another song by this guy. Okay. But the point of the story is that a lot of the people who come to the shows are people who have found out about me through that cartoon. And I'm going to tell you a story about something that totally innocently happened, which was so horrifying. So at one of these shows, a mom comes with her daughter, and she's quite young. And she says, oh, she loves your music. She really loves the song Brains. And I'm like, oh, yeah, Brains. It's from a cartoon, of course. The kids like it. And she goes, my daughter has a special request. Can you draw the creature from Brains? And I thought, okay, well, I've never done that before. I don't know if it's going to be good, but I remember what it looks like in my head, right? So I was like, yeah, sure. Do you have a piece of paper or something? She said, give me a piece of paper. And I'd never thought about this before, but I start drawing it. And like the base of the creature is like this big wrinkly sack. Right? I feel like this big wrinkly sack. It's kind of like subdivided. It's almost like two large wrinkly falls inside of a sack. So that's the body of the creature. And then I remember it had an eye like at the end of a stalk. So I draw like a long stalk, with a tubular shaft, with a ball at the end of that. And then it had some tentacles, and I start drawing the tentacles, and I'm like, oh my God! And I realize it's too late, I've now drawn a penis for this small child. And all I could think to myself was, Maxwell Adams, damn you! I think that's what it was all along, I never noticed. Proving yet again that I'm far more innocent than I look. And without further ado, a children's song. About an evil meteor that comes, not what you think it is. It's an evil meteor, damn it. When my mic is cutting out, is it cutting out in the house or just cutting out in the monitors? Both. Okay, so we might want to check these connections. Oh, wait, that seemed a little loose, actually. Are we going to run a new cable? All right. Is cable running music? That was a really short song. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Brains! Whoa! Step right up, I'm a reasonable guy. Don't be frightened by the look in my eye. Just your average evil meteor from out of the sky. I'm just shy and scared in this place. I fish out of water from outer space. You can see that the trip is left me tied and trained. So why don't you be a pal and bring me some brains? Make this song slightly more interesting. When I say brains, just bludgeon the person to your left to death with a sharp object. It's a horror convention, come on! Don't do that, I'm kidding. The fact that I have to tell you I'm kidding is really sad about where we are today. When I say brains, you say brains. All in favor say aye! Aye! All in favor say brains! Brains! Go down to your neighbor's place, see the dull expression on his face. You were doing him a favor if you brought him to me. He ain't using his brain, he's just looking at me. Go down to Mr. McGee's, he hasn't had a thought since 43. His brain is the portrait of atrophy. He ain't using it, why not give it to me? Brains! I won't lie, I'll eat the brains till the sun will fly. Sure, they might think it's the range, but they won't give it a thought of two of eating their brains. Brains! It's okay, it's not a matter if it isn't gray. And if at first they think it's strange, they won't think twice if they don't have a brain. Brains! 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 I'm drunk with power! Shut up. It's not rum. There's no alcohol allowed in here. I have to be drunk with power because I can't be drunk on anything else. Last year I was on tour in Germany. I was, it's a true story. And while I was singing this song, I came to that same point of the song, I yelled, I am drunk with power! It was in Frankfurt, Germany. There was this guy standing in the audience, a few feet away from me. And he looks up at me and he went, this is how it begins. I was like, really? I looked at him, I said, let's invade France! This guy did not miss a trick. He looked right back up at me and he goes, and what will we do with the rest of the afternoon? I hate it when the audience is funnier than me. I hate that. So about 6 months ago, I was on tour in Russia, and I was telling that same story. And And I was in Moscow when I got to the point where I said, and then the German guy says, and what will we do with the rest of the afternoon? This Russian guy goes, invade Ukraine. I was like, oh my God, I'm like the terrible ambassador Trump has not yet hired. But if he did, I would outlast everyone else on that cabinet. I've been ambassador for weeks. Brains. I love them, I need them. My tongue jumps from joy and I eat them. Big ones, fat ones, short ones, tall ones. So delectable, especially the small ones. No time to cook them in a skillet. I let this rumble in, I gotta need to fill it. I don't fry them, I heat them, don't shrink them. I just grab myself a straw and I drink them. You've been swell to go around and bring me every single brain in town. But with all these brains, I can't help but think that there isn't one left out there to drain. That's a boy, come on, heck. Is there someone that you're trying to protect? Bring it down here to meet her, and then I promise I'll be your bestest friend. Brains! I won't lie, I'll eat her brain till she's zombified. Sure, she might think it's the rain, but she won't give it a thought to repeat her brains. Brains! It's okay, it's not a matter if it isn't great. And if at first she thinks it's strange, she won't think twice if she don't have a brain. Hooray! Bring me her beret. Bring me her beret. Bring me her beret. Very much. To sing that too. I would like very much to sing you a song about a young lady who was grossly underestimated. I think we live in a time where there should be more songs about powerful women. In the very least, women that you realize you should absolutely not be messing with. I like to believe this is a song about a young lady that somebody thought because he was powerful he could mess with her, and realized that that was not how it works at all, much to the detriment of himself and his entire kingdom. It goes like this. In the court of Augustine the 12th, the king reprimanded his men and demanded they put to good use all his wealth to cure his deep ennui. For you see, he found that he was sad and lonely ever since his wife the queen got mad and rode off on his steed. In a glen beyond the castle wall, there was a tinker and he was a thinker, the smartest man in all the world. He made a mechanical girl, for you see, his daughter passed away that summer, and though he knew he could not replace her, he missed his family. Suddenly a knock at the door went ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, and the king's men came in blowing horns. By order of his highness, we're to take you and that thing to present your marvel to the king. And so over the glen and through the great castle wall, over the moat and into the great castle hall, when her maker urged, the robot girl emerged. He was delighted, his man overnighted, he yelled aloud for all the world, I'll take her for my queen. And the man screamed, please don't take my child, I beg you, mighty king. And they grabbed him by his tailbone and threw him in the moat. Later in their wedding bed, the king was shocked to see a tender kiss upon the cheek, unleashed an armory. Rocket launchers and flame-throwing guns grew from her sides, and she grew to 7 times her size. No, do you not understand, motherfucker? On the morn of August 24th, he was dejected when lest he expected a knock was heard upon the door. It was this robot girl, for you see, he made her indestructible, it seems, and she destroyed that awful kingdom, and they lived happily. See, the moral of the story is never take a child away from a loving parent. Especially not ones who make children or shoot rockets from their eyes. And now, the words no one here wished to hear tonight. This next one's from my country album. When I mentioned that I made a country album,
I thought he was going to say this is a dry country.
They don't get, let's just say they don't get very excited. They don't get very excited. You're excited? I'm excited. But what people don't understand about my country album is, like a lot of my music, it's anachronistic. It's not meant to be cool and popular and like what you hear now on the radio. That's why I don't have any money. I would have money if my songs were cool and popular and like what you hear on the radio. I write stuff that sounds like it could have come out, I don't know, 300 years ago, 200 years ago. When I set out to make a country album, I also did not set out to make it sound like the kind of country you hear on the radio today. Because I'm not even really sure that's country music. It's like some weird kind of like, I don't know, some kind of like saccharine country-styled pop music, right? I set out to make a Johnny Cash album, basically. And I called it Hate Lives in a Small Town. That's what it's called. And I gotta tell you, as I was driving in from the airport, Gage was giving me, is that Gage over there? Hey Gage, thanks for the ride, by the way. I was looking out the window and I passed a sign that said Folsom, and I was like, that's not Folsom like Folsom Prison Blues Folsom, is it?
Yes.
So you might, now I might be embarrassed, because this song sounds a lot like Folsom Prison Blues, because that's how much I like Johnny Cash. You decide, here's how it goes. It's rolling down the bend, but I ain't here sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train keeps a-rolling. Hate lives in a small town. It's reminiscent. It's reminiscent. I'm kidding. But anyway. The reason I wrote this song in particular is because I grew up in a tiny little town in New Jersey. And we live in a country where people have this, I think, erroneous belief that the smaller the town, the more wholesome it is, the more American it is. Wow, I guess y'all don't agree with that. I disagree. I live in New York City. I live in New York City where you stand side by side on a daily basis with people of other races, other genders, other alternative lifestyles, other religions, other creeds. And when you're in New York City, a big city like that, or Los Angeles, or anywhere where you're forced to be standing next to people you may not have like sought out to meet otherwise, what you find out really quickly is that there's only two kinds of people on Earth. Color aside, race aside, gender aside, all that stuff aside. Cool people and assholes. That's it. It's just cool people and assholes. And my experience is the smaller the town, the less exposed they are to other lifestyles. And all of my troubles were all more severe in a small town than they were in a big city. And anyway, I've said too much. This song is called Hate Lives in a Small Town, and that's what it's about. And it goes like this. I hear a train coming. That's not how it goes. It goes like this. If you're heading down the highway, down about Route 10, get off on the last exit and take it around the bend, you'll find a small town. But don't go hanging around, cause hate lives in a small town. At least that's what I have found. The moms are in the kitchens and the bacon pies, they smell so good they're meant to cover up the smell of lies in a small town. But pies don't cure all ills. Hate lives in a small town, that's why those moms take pills. Well, I went to the big city and everyone was wearing black. They saw that in my hometown, they wouldn't stand for that. I saw kids all covered in tattoos with mohawks and purple hair. But what really struck me was no one seemed to care. Well, the Knights, they beat the Badgers when they played down in the square, but they saved the biggest beating for a kid with longish hair in a small town. That kid was me 1 year, cause hate lives in a small town, more so if you seem queer. And I did, and I'm damn fucking proud of it. Pastors in the pulpit preaching righteous lies, and the congregation, they don't know he slept with all their wives in a small town.
Well, they do now.
And it's so clear to see that hate lives in a small town, as does adultery.